What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. It's our Wednesday night edition. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and we've got a really special show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about leadership in the new paradigm. The show is all about the awakening world, and we've got with us an extraordinary man. He's somebody I have the greatest respect for. You know, I have amazing luminaries that I get to know and talk to. There's nobody I respect more than Satyen Raja. And he is the founder of Warrior Sage. And we're going to learn really all about his vision and how he supports new leadership in the new paradigm. We also are going to have a very special treat for you towards the end of the show. But as always, we always start and end our shows with Omashar. So I'm going to go straight to our beloved brother to get us off to a rousing song. Start musical offering, Omashar.
Hey there. Recognize we've been hypnotized, the spell is wearing off, and so now we rise with higher frequencies. There is no disguise, the truth of life itself is now realized. Love is reaching through hearts of me and you. Our world is waking up to our different points of view, and now we recognize we've been hypnotized. The spell is wearing off, and so now we rise with higher frequencies. There is no disguise, the truth of life itself is now realized. So shake yourself free of the past, no longer do we walk in the dark. Let's show each other what we can do, and let our light shine right on through. Now we recognize we've been hypnotized. The spell is wearing off, and so now we rise with higher frequencies. There is no disguise, the truth of life itself is now realized. So shake yourself free of the past. No longer do we walk in the dark. Let's show each other what we can do, and let our light shine right on through. 'Cause now we recognize we've been hypnotized. The spell is wearing off, and so now we rise with higher frequency. There is no disguise. The truth of life itself is now realized. So shake yourself free of the past. No longer do we walk in the dark.
Freeing ourselves of the past and no longer walking in the dark. We are truly coming into the awakening world. And that is the most psychedelic background you have had yet, Mr. Omershaw.
It's yeah.
I'm getting a contact high just from watching it.
I know, me too. I only found it this afternoon. I googled on videasy.com hypnotize, and it came up with 1,000 things, and I thought that's the one for this song. So
You
yeah,
have totally hypnotized us. Thank you so much, beloved brother.
my
Now,
pleasure.
turns out that you and Satyen Raja have a whole relationship. Which
Well, an acquaintanceship, I would say. I've met him in Hawaii, and his beautiful wife too, and just an absolutely gorgeous, genuine, heart-centered, fully grounded man. I was so excited to hear that you were coming on tonight, Satyen, and looking forward to this little soiree we'll have in the next half an hour. So, welcome and blessings.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Scott and Omashar. Yes, Omashar, I was playing Omashar's music in my meditation camps and intensives for many years. And then to circle around like this, my heart just blows wide open. So I'm very grateful for this beautiful synchronous alignment. So beautiful.
And I want to invite all the people who are watching on Facebook, Conscious Awakening Network, Humanities Team, all of our different broadcast partners. Now, it's wonderful that you're watching us that way, but I want to invite you to come and join the Global Peace Tribe. And this is a good time to do it because tonight is the start of our new season. So what happens is when you join, you're going to get the Zoom room links to all of our shows for the next 3 months. So we do 2 or 3 shows every week. And you can come onto the Zoom room and maybe even ask a question of Satyen Raja. So go to globalpeacetribe.com, then click register for the new season. That'll take you to our registration page. And these are some of the co-hosts up on that top right. Those are the kind of my co-hosts that come in and share shows with me. We do a meditation every night now, 6:30 p.m. Every night we have an evening meditation. And then here's the show that you're about to watch, Evolving Leadership and Human Resources for the New Paradigm. And then here's what we're going to be doing on Saturday night. Saturday night, it's all about amplifying each other's light. And we've got 5 women from all over the world, 3 different continents, who are part of this coalition dedicated to helping people amplify their light. So come, join, register, join the Global Peace Tribe, and we want to see you with us. All right, I want to tell people a little bit about Satyen. He's widely known as a private transformational mentor, advisor, and confidant to powerful, thoughtful, and influential leaders. He is the leader's guru, mentor, and he combines, just like his company, as a warrior sage. He's got the discipline of a martial artist and the heart of a Buddha. And I've had the good fortune to get to know Satyen both personally and professionally. he's at the highest level of humanity. He has had a successful marriage for decades, raised children, and changed the world by working with leaders. So, Satyen, I just want to go right in and ask, what is leadership in the new paradigm? What does that mean to you? What are we looking at?
Thank you so much, Scott, for your kind introduction. Welcome, friends. For me, leadership, first of all, is moving away from our egoic tendency of control, demand, pushing, carrot and stick motivation, all types of manipulative ways to get people to do what we want, how we want it. And we're in a paradigm, we're in an age now where, especially all of us in this circle here, we recognize the nature of everyone is a boundless, eternal, divine being, a spiritual being, an essence. Call it whatever we call it, but everyone here knows that our essence is much deeper than just our superficial everyday living. For me, transcendent leadership is tapping into, unifying with our core dharma. Dharma from the yogic or Indian perspective means, what is our true life's vision and mission? What are we here meant to do? What is our deepest calling and yearning to express in the world? When we tap into that, when we surrender to the depth of who we are, and we ask in grace, in openness, what is our deepest purpose? What must I do to live, love, and die complete on this planet without regret? Whatever answers come, that's the path of leadership. The path of leadership is following that inner call within, unequivocally, without going backwards, resolutely, even in the face of fear, and manifesting, consolidating, and bringing into reality what comes forth from spirit, whether that's in our homes, our lives, or in our businesses.
Satyen, are you optimistic or pessimistic or a little of both when you see the huge problems that our planet's facing? And obviously, I don't want to get too political, but we've had at least one recent leader that is the exact opposite of everything you just described. Do you see that there is a new wave in time to help us really guide the planet, guide humanity through the huge problems that we're facing?
Well, as you nailed it, we're in a crisis of leadership. We've got many problems, from environment on many levels, economy, societal challenges. I mean, the list goes on and on. If we're to look at that whole list, it could be overwhelming and we can get pessimistic. Who knows what I'm talking about, right? It's like it's too much to do. How are we going to manage that? How are we going to handle these great challenges we have on our planet? Well, for me, it's really simple. The crisis is not in the stuff that we need to do. The crisis is in the leadership. We have all the resources, we have all the money, we have all the science, we have all the know-how. We got all that we need to create utopia on this planet. I truly believe that. What we're lacking is enlightened leadership. Our leaders haven't awakened to their true nature, because when we awaken to our true nature and we recognize I am something part of this greater whole, not just mentally, but through the process of self-realization. When people realize who they are, leaders, they automatically, spontaneously feel their interconnectedness to everyone, to everything, to all sentient life, because we are all one. We are all connected. We're not separate. Now, we might know this intellectually, but when that's turned on within ourselves, our symbiotic relationship flowers. We recognize we are part of a mycelium network of consciousness. And that, then what happens is our leadership naturally goes from egoic satisfaction to try to fill our own needs, to try to fill our company's money numbers, to try to fill all the traditional numbers and checkpoints that make for a successful organization. When that symbiotic energy, when that revelation is experienced, then what happens is we move to the next octave, the next space, the next level of awareness on how to lead. We go from mules that are struggling, pushing, striving, using excess willpower, excess yang power, excess masculine energy, and then we transform into magicians, which are tapping into really the natural laws of reality. And when we tap into the natural laws of existence, then what happens is then we move into a flow state. We become magicians. So really, leadership now is in crisis, but that's a great opportunity. In the Chinese philosophies and martial arts, the worst crisis is the moment where we have the highest potential of liberation, openness, and expansion. So actually, I am very optimistic. I used to be a little pessimistic for years, but the COVID, when all of that happened, I went even more inward. I was feeling what's going on with the craziness, not just with COVID, but how the leadership was managing all of this. And then as I came through it, I recognized, you know what? This is a world level Kundalini event. We're going through the eye of the storm for all of us individually and collectively to evolve. And so we're on the right time, we're on the right place. Everything that we have in front of us, all the challenges, is actually for us. It's our opportunity to evolve, awaken to our true nature and our symbiotic relationship and camaraderie. So that's my challenge and my invitation to all of us today.
I love how inspiring you are. And of course, everything you say resonates, but I'm going to ask another tough question. Even for an enlightened leader, even for somebody who is really in the mindset you just described, if he's in the corporate environment, and we all know that just the very nature of how corporate structure has been made, it's sociopathic. You know, it's not looking at 7 generations, it's looking at the bottom line quarter by quarter. So how does an enlightened leader still make massive quantum changes when stuck in the corporate world, in the corporate mindset?
Well, that's a great question, Scott. You see, there's a unconscious imprint that if we go deeper into these dimensions that I've been talking about, transcendence, unity, and awakening. You see, in my philosophy, we need 3 things for leadership. We need enlightenment, so we need self-realization and we awaken to our deeper nature. We also need to unify with other leaders. It's not alone that we stand on alone and change our organizations. When we jam, when we peer with other peers, when we uplift each other and say, okay, listen, I'm on this path, you're on this path, let's join forces, let's galvanize. I think that's the next step. Then the next step is making it happen. So enlightenment, unify each other, let's galvanize our capacities together. Scott, Omashar, Dia, everyone online here, we all have unique capacities. When we go arm in arm, we say, let's find a way to synergize this, then what happens is there's an exponential shift that happens, an exponential growth. Now, let's bring it back to the resistances in companies. So I've been working with companies, organizations for 20 years now. They're not interested when you first come in, when you first chat with them and talk to the leaders, the CEOs, the executives, they're not necessarily interested in all this more altruistic things I'm talking about. They're interested in the bottom line. They want team alignment. They want team synergy. So guess what we do? We provide that. I provide processes, practices, and cultivations which serve the teams to come into higher unity, dissolve the mental obstacles that are in their mind, expand their companies 10x, 100x, whatever they want to achieve. Now, when that happens, beautifully what happens is they recognize there's something going on here. The very processes that I sit them in, they seem like coaching processes, but they're far beyond. They reduce and they remove the barriers of our humanity with each other. In the corporate world, there's a lot of masks. You wear the mask of this role, talking to the mask of that role. And so we're not talking from ourselves to the other. We're roles to roles that are speaking. And we're only looking at numbers that need to be achieved, goals that need to be achieved. But when we drop them into the experience of transcendence and the processes that I utilize in our trainings, we go from chaos to coherence. That's the first thing. Help me deal with the challenges I have that are bogging me down, the fires that are always happening over and over. So that's where I start, Scott. What's the problems you got going on? And always, all those problems always boil down to the breakdown in human dynamics. Always breaks down to human dynamics in families, in large corporations, small companies, it doesn't matter. The breakdown, the obstacles, the Ceilings is always in the human dynamics. So that's what we got to heal, awaken, and bring the highest synergy to. And that's the approach I take. Let's ramp up. Let's make your team a super effective, aligned, synergized team, which then naturally opens them up into the higher perspectives, the higher values, the higher vision, the higher mission. You gotta check off the ego's needs first, which then lets them go, the ego can relax, and now they're able to be open to the higher context that comes through.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Here's a question from Susan. She writes, how can one integrate experience into presentations? Experience other than science.
You see this, you've nailed it. You know, words are one thing, a visual is another thing. A tangible experience of transformation, insight, revelation, aha, is essential. In all my trainings, more than just teaching, I like to make sure we have a transformational experience of meditation, a way to remove obstacles in the mind. And so those of you who are working with others, when you give an experiential dial-in, then people have an embodiment. They're going to walk away. No one ever remembers very little what you talk about, but they remember the emotions and the energy and the vibration that you left in the space. So I think it's really important for all of us who are facilitators or who aim to be facilitators in leadership to really give people an experience that takes them out of their comfort zone, that brings them into a higher understanding, and that brings them closer to each other on the team. I think that's the first step to start with.
Beautiful. Here's a question from Sylvia. Where does magic fit in enlightened leadership? Co-creation of care and thriving with and for all beings? Is that where the magic fits in, or what else?
This is really beautifully said. So let me share with you the model that I use. This is my book set called Transcendent. It's from my book set, Transcendent CEO and Transcendent Culture. There's exercises and practice and lots of applicable wisdoms there. But the model I have is this. I'll show you the pictures. 5 pillars. The circle represents going from egoic power to enlightened power. Enlightened power is crafting and calling upon a vision, a mission that compels all of us to row in the same direction. Creating a world that doesn't break down is an example of one of the missions and visions I created for a company that created a software that basically detects when things are going to break down. And we can avert so many natural disasters, mechanical disasters, because now we have a world that doesn't break down. That's an example of a vision that's compelling, that brings the company together. But you're talking about the next element, heart. In companies and organizations, tends to be a lack of heart, a lack of heart connection. We tend to come from, as I said, roles rather than from the soul. We come from the role. And so what we do is in our organization, a very powerful exercise is this. And you can do this with your family, your friends, you can do this in your companies. And you say to each other, so Brother Scott, a way that you would reduce or lower my reputation and significance is talking badly about me, not sharing about my work, keeping me private to your own self. A way you can raise my reputation and significance is like you did today, sharing your personal experience with me, referring me to other leaders who could grow and who wish to, evolve themselves and their companies. Now imagine sharing what I just did with everyone on your team, and you sharing that with everyone on your team, and your team sharing that with you, a way that you can lower your significance and reputation, theirs, and a way that you can raise their significance and reputation. When I've done this in companies, everyone goes, wow. When they hear from their teammates, hey, don't lower my reputation this way in significance, but a way you can lift it up is this way. Then all of a sudden we go from the ego self, which wants to raise its own reputation and significance, which is how you grow in a company, and it reverses the energetic to now us raising our teammates' reputation and significance, which then in turn wants to do the same for you. So now the heart energy opens, because now we feel we're not competing with each other in the organization. We're fostering our unity, our heart, our love, our care for each other. So that's one pragmatic way to do that. It's essential. And then ultimately, we look at creating visions and missions that go beyond company culture, corporate growth, shareholder values, into the values that serve the greater good.
One, the same being.
We are going to have our meditation in 3 minutes. But something I want to start talking about, and then we'll talk more about it after the meditation, is human resources. And I saw, I think it was on Facebook, that you had a whole new vision for human resources, which is interesting because I've recently been hired to create the human resources department for spiritual community in Ashland, Oregon, built around the TwinRay. And so they want their human resources to be built around compassionate communication. So I've come in and I'm teaching compassionate communication to everyone. And I'm really fascinated to hear what the new vision, as you see it, for human resources and a human resources department would look like. So like 2 or 3 minutes now, and then we'll go deeper into it after the meditation break.
Very good. So, you know, in the companies I work with, first of all, I let them know the term human resources sounds like we're chattel, we're cattle. We're not resources. We're human beings, and we're not resources to draw from. So that's the first rescripting I have. What I like to have my companies say is we're not a human resources department. We're the human flourishing department. We're the human upliftment department. We're the human synergy department. It shifts it from resource into service, into how can we become together. That's number one. I've created a whole what I call executive black belt curriculum. And in there, Scott, we go through power, as I was sharing, heart. We also go through freedom, flow, and wisdom. Freedom means removing the obstacles to greater freedom. Flow means finding out where there's continuous fires, obstacles, and where are we not in the flow state, and getting into flow state. And the last one is wisdom, activating the complete total wisdom in the company. So we're drawing from all the wisdom that's available. That's usually we don't draw from. That's the essence of transcendent culture and transcendent leadership.
So we're talking, of course, with Satyen Raja, and his company is Warrior Sage, and you can learn all about it by going to warriorsage.com, warriorsage.com. And then if you click on Content Library, that's where you can see some of his extraordinary books. And here's what he's talking about: his Transcendent Leadership podcasts, his interview series, his lessons, published articles, interviews with other warrior sages. And some amazing people have come through his organization. I did a 5-day retreat with him. I think it was around 2017, 2018, up in Canada. And it was amazing watching you. And it was really, really fun for 5 days watching how you got us all really shifting our consciousness. So we'd have more from our beautiful brother Satyen, but it is 6:30. And for the last couple of months now, we do meditation every night at 6:30. And so on Wednesday nights, we are always blessed to have beautiful, beloved brother Nicholas coming to us from the Haven in Ashland, Oregon. A reminder that Nicholas is a beautiful yoga teacher. He is the yogini of the TwinRay community, a beautiful man. And welcome, brother Nicholas. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much, as always, for having me, and doing great. Feeling very inspired by his brother Satyen with what little I got to tune in with. It's beautiful work. Just want to acknowledge that and have the joy to just follow up. So,
Beautiful. We're turning it over to you, and thank you so much for being with us every Wednesday night, Nicholas.
thank you very much. So, here we go. I would presume on some level that the source of all this beautiful work that this brother is sharing and presenting with us has come from his sadhana, from his spiritual discipline, from turning within, whatever we would like to call it, meditation. Having that practice to create space for that divine inspiration to come through us and co-collaborate with Source in such beautiful ways and evolve and grow. But always do my best to show up in the space of meditation as a child, just so open, like the first time, open to the miracle, what may be with each breath. So may we do our best to tune into that space of miracles together, the stillness within, of the divine inspiration that wants to move through all of us to create and manifest, and serve and give back. So we begin to turn our attention inward. And to do that, let's begin to rub the hands. And as we rub the hands, let the eyes fall closed. And listen closely to the sound of the hands. And as you keep rubbing the hands, begin to connect to the sound of your breath. Listen closely, softening, allowing yourself to be sensitive, to listen. Begin to slow it down, anchoring into the heart space, thumbs to the sternum. As you are, find length in the spine. Find a posture of peace, receptive and open, grounded through the root, open through the crown, present in the heart. And as we unite as one in prayer, within our own sphere, within ourselves, may we invoke a prayer and intention in this moment to show up in that space of grace, fully open, like a child's wonder. Each breath, each feeling, each sensation, a gift, a secret message, a code. What is the divine inspiration wanting to flow through you in this here and now moment? May you cherish it. May we cherish it together. This time that we have. It's taking these next few moments to cultivate awareness within, to see what arises within the heart space, prayers and intentions, invoking, evoking the space within and throughout. Taking a deep breath in and a sigh out, softening the body even more, deeper presence within. And let's go a bit deeper as we invoke a posture, a mudra of the hands, like a teepee. The fingertips gently touch with about 2 pounds of weight. And let this teepee come down right in front of the chest. Let the thumb point towards your chest, towards your diaphragm there, and the other fingers pointing forward. Let the forearms be parallel to the ground. Feel that space being created in the lungs and breathe into that space. A steady breath in through the nose and a gentle sigh out through the mouth. Let the breath glide out through the lips. And continue like so, in through the nose. Just let the breath fall out gently as you exhale. Continuing this pattern. A gentle pressure in the fingertips, a softness in the shoulders, length in the spine, open in the heart. Finding a focus of the gaze of the eyes up and into the space between the brows. Calling your energy into balance, harmony, and unity. Holding this posture of peace, applying the presence with each breath, open and receptive. Not grasping or reaching, listening, feeling, allowing what comes to come, allowing what goes to go. Be still and see what remains. Allowing space, resisting nothing. Smooth and steady. In through the nose. Slow exhale through the mouth. Letting everything else go. Being sensitive. From the feeling of the fingertips. From the feeling in the fingertips to the sound of the breath. A few more rounds holding the posture. Taking one more breath in. At the top of the breath, pause, suspend, tall spine, open heart, shoulders back. And a full exhale through the mouth all the way down. This time as you inhale, stretch the arms up to the sky, deep breath and lift. Spread the fingers wide like steel. Diaphragm lifts through the pelvic floor, lifting up to the crown. As you exhale, release down, spread the arms wide. Relax the hands down to the thighs, to the knees, let the palms face up. And feel with the presence of which you have applied. The pressure that created to allow space. Now receive that divine inspiration. Receive it through the palms, through the breath, through the space you've created. Feel the natural rhythm of the breath in union with the beat of the heart. working together. Feeling and listening closely. Sensitivity is your superpower. Deeper and deeper within. Each breath. Each beat of the heart. Connecting to that pure source within. In this moment, anywhere that you may feel some tightness, some tension, breathe into it, soften, be an open channel. Let each breath be like a wave crashing onto the shores, cleansing and clearing, creating space. And in that space is the remembrance, that aha, that sweetness. Remember, there's only one doer, and we are just to be in collaboration, in witness, in play and devotion with that which cannot be described, only felt and experienced uniquely through each and every individual soul. In these last moments as we close up, let the hands come over the heart, and in your own way, that song that sings in your heart, the way that you feel that pure connection to source, to spirit. The way that Bob Marley sang about the natural mystic moving through the air. What is your song? What is your service? Feel that. Beautiful. One more big breath in to unite. And sighing. Let it go. Let the palms unite. Bring it into the forehead. Sealing it up. Then let the palms come onto the face. Just begin to ground in a bit, rubbing the eyes and the face. Hands down to the shoulders, down to your knees and thighs, blinking the eyes open, coming back. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be your guide this evening. Hope you enjoyed. Sending all my love.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. And I want to remind everyone, Nicholas is a wonderful yoga teacher. In fact, he'll be teaching a yoga class in 15 minutes. Quick, get to Ashland, Oregon, get to the Haven. You've got 14 minutes before his 7 o'clock class starts. But for those of you who can't make it to Ashland in 14 minutes, Nicholas provides private training. And so if you're wanting to do private yoga, imagine how wonderful it would be to do private yoga with this beautiful man. And so you can contact Nicholas. You can reach out to me and I'll connect you with him if you'd like. or you can go to, if you want to put your email address into the chat box, Nicholas.
Okay.
And please give my love and our love to all of our friends at the Haven in Ashland. And I'll be back up there and look forward to seeing you in about a week.
Yes, likewise, Scott. Thank you very much. Will do.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, that's refreshing. And I'm going to go back to our beautiful, beautiful brother, Satyen Raja. For a few of you who came in late, this is Satyen Raja, the founder of Warrior Sage, someone that I have the highest respect for. I've had the honor to study with him, learn from him, and also I can call him my friend. And he helps people all over the world become the best leaders they possibly can be. Satyen, what would be a tip for someone who is struggling to find that leadership inside of themselves when they're facing disappointment, disillusionment, or shame even that their life hasn't progressed the way they think that it should?
Great question, Scott. I'm going to share with you a story which sums this up for me. When I was a youngster in the Shaolin Temple with my Kung Fu master, I was an apprentice, and the head instructor couldn't make it into class. He was teaching the upstairs class because there was snow on the roads and problems. And there was a lower level instructor, senior to me, teaching the downstairs class. Well, the head instructor, nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. So the master comes in and says to the other instructor, he says, I'd like you to teach both classes at the same time, because they're on at the same time in the morning. And the instructor looked like, how do I do that? And he showed a type of hesitation. And my master, he was a very stern man. He said, you are dismissed. And he had a look of shock in his face. And he says, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, sir. He goes, no, you're dismissed. Don't come back for a while. And I was like, and the instructor sauntered away, got his stuff and left. And he looks at me and he goes, Satyen, Mr. Raja, can you teach both classes? And I went, yes, sir, no problem, my pleasure. Now, did I have any idea how? Did I have any inner confidence? No, I was a lower level than the upstairs class. They were all senior to me. And so I had to make things up on the spot. So I said, okay, you do 10 push-ups, then you go down the aisle and count them out loud. I'm going to go downstairs and start up the class. So I go downstairs and I start up the class, and the same thing. You go ahead, 10 push-ups, 10 push-ups. By the time upstairs were almost done, I was able to run back and forth. Both classes were clunky. Both classes were sort of okay. But you know what? I learned an incredible lesson. At the end, the master comes up to me and he says, you did well. Because when you were given the opportunity to lead, you led. It didn't matter what inner vacillation you had. It didn't matter what nervousness you had. It didn't matter how much confidence you had. It didn't matter how much self-esteem or value you think you have to give others. You were given the opportunity to lead, so you led. And so my challenge and loving invitation to all of us here, we are all leaders of ourselves, of our families, our households, our visions, our missions. For those of you in companies, small teams, in this moment, you're a leader. So please, when given the opportunity to lead, zero hesitation. Even though inside you might have the heebie-jeebies, go forward, go valiantly. The price of leading, when given the opportunity, what you'll get back is profound feedback, insight, and you'll gain a power within yourself just because you took the leap without the how. When given the opportunity to lead, what do you do, everyone? Lead.
Wow, that's a great story. And I always get so inspired to listen to you. I'm working right now with a couple that are about to have their first baby. And I said, and they said, we're not ready. I said, of course you're not. You'll never be ready. And when you've just figured out how to handle a 1-year-old, the little bugger's going to turn 2. Right? So we're never really ready for a new opportunity. We just learn as we go and keep tuning in.
Inner feelings of readiness are not the calling card. That's the resistance and the egoic fear. Rare do we ever feel that we're ready enough to do the movement, the action, the big steps we need to. Everyone here has some action, some step that they've been avoiding, that they know they could take forward, but they have inner resistances. What if you made that action anyways today? You're given the opportunity to lead and you lead. You tell the universe, you tell yourself, I'm going to step forward, and then watch the how fall into place. If we wait for the how before we lead, it rarely happens. But when we say, I'm ready to lead, the how, the clarity, the resources, the friends, the insight starts to come, because we've initiated the leadership from our willingness to face the fear of anything or the smallness of our past.
Last question for you, because I know you got to go. How do you, in leadership, suggest balancing the logical brain that has memorized a lot of important information and the other side of the brain that is like a clear channel for spirit to flow through?
Great question. So the leadership, with the leaders I train a very simple model: heart and mind, soul and mind, whatever you want to call it, okay? Intuition and mind. Two navigation systems, two GPS tuning in systems. The mind is rationality. So we need to use rationality and clarity in business and decisions. But most of our business decisions and life decisions, many of us use rationality in the mind. Now, the spiritual people, we tend to use the intuitive, the feeling. How do we know it's a yes? There's a feeling of deeper comfort in our being. That's the intuitive yes. The feeling of discomfort is the intuitive no, caution, hold on. So the training that I'm going to ask everyone to do, the self-awareness, is notice when you're about to make a decision, a big move, a small move, even going for a little bite today. What does your mind say? And what does your intuition, feeling, level of comfort say? If the mind is green and the gut and the feeling is yellow or red, don't go forward. If the mind is red, meaning no, and the gut, the intuition, the feeling says yes, it's yellow or green, don't go forward. Wait until the soul, the feeling, that feeling of yes on the within also lines up with the rational yes. When those two line up, move forward valiantly, don't hesitate, you're on the right path to success and expansion. But if you just use one of those, or you're loyal to soul and intuition, less loyal to the mind, or loyal to the mind and rational, and less tuned in, then what will happen is continuous bumps, continuous obstacles, and you'll be in a loop and pattern that just gets more of the same. The divine has given us these two navigation centers. We need to use both of them, the masculine and the feminine, to make the best decisions for ourselves and the greater whole.
Beautiful. So much wisdom here. We're going to edit what you've shared today and put it into its own segment, put it up on our website. But speaking of websites, we're going to conclude by going to your website, warriorsage.com. warriorsage.com. You've got a whole new black belt program. Tell us about your black belt leadership, or executive black belt evolution.
You know, we've been training leaders for many years, and what I've done is put together really what I consider the quintessential leadership program really that on the planet. I've designed this with my colleague Alan Shelton, who's a very esteemed corporate leader and spiritual teacher himself. And we looked at all our years of what makes really a super team, what makes an executive team outstanding, what makes world-class super teams. And so we've designed a curriculum to install that capacity in any leader who's here to make big moves on the planet, as well as their whole teams. This is where we empower them. We take them through a training to develop power, heart, freedom, flow, and wisdom, so that not only are they leaders in their companies, they're also the transformational agents in the company. They're not going to be relying on others outside, other guides, other mentors. They're going to be the ones equipped to create the inner change, the inner shifts, the revolution in consciousness that makes the organization a place that thrives on the inside and outside.
Beautiful. I hope you don't mind, I fibbed. I said last question, but there's one that just came in that is so juicy. So this really will be the last question. This is from Dorina Joy down in Ecuador. She writes, "Thank you, Satyen. What is your take on the impact of artificial intelligence on the process and journey of transcendence in business, both personally and the collective?"
You know, my concern is our natural intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a tool for our natural intelligence. It's a tool. It's not a takeover, if you will. It's a tool to be used. And so the way I look at it is, as a warrior, I use the tools that I need to up level whatever I need to up level. But the true awakening needs to happen at the inner level of being, which is our natural innate intelligence. What is that? The natural innate intelligence is our connectedness to all reality, all sentient beings. When that's turned on, then whatever AI or other types of intelligences, they'll be in benevolent service to our own natural intelligence. That's more important than anything else out there.
Wow. Thank you for the wisdom. I'm going to bring our beloved brother Omashar, and Omashar's had a baby, has had a child during the time that we started this show. That was quick.
This is true. I was just heard a knock on the door, and in walked my beautiful friend from upstairs, Aidan. And so say hi.
Hi.
There we go. Satyen and Scott. Anyway, go for it, Scott.
All right, Satyen, thank you so much. Again, you can find all things Satyen Raja at warriorsage.com. Please give my best to Suzanne.
Will do. Thank you so much, Scott, Omashar, and all friends gathered. Much love and blessings.
Blessings, brother. Thank you.
All right, I've got a very special something coming, but I want to make a couple of announcements. An extraordinary thing happened. My friend Sean Morden, you might recall that we did a whole little tribute. We talked about how I worked with him on Strange Universe and that he had passed away. Well, indeed, the doctors declared that he had died and he came back to life. This is true. I posted that he had passed away. And here he is giving a thumbs up. He literally died and came back to life. Only Sean Morden. And get this, it was on his birthday. On Sunday, he died. And on Sunday, he came back to life. And Sunday was his actual birthday. So Sean is still with us. And I definitely, once he's a little bit better, I'm going to have him on the show to talk about his experience. So Sean Morden is still with us. An amazing story. And I think what I'm actually imagining, Sean, Daniel Brinkley, Sean and I are all old drinking buddies, to be honest, from back in the Strange Universe days. And so I think my fantasy is to create a show with Daniel talking about near-death experiences, Sean, who just had his near-death experience. And that's going to be an interesting episode of The Awakening World for us to look forward to. I also want to put the camera on our good friend Don Drake. And a reminder that Don is someone we're raising money for. And we announced this a week ago. And lots of you have contributed. And so for those of you who haven't contributed, we still love you. Prayers are great. Green energy is also wonderful. And Don, I wanted to give you a chance to say thank you and just kind of share how you're doing.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, Scott. I really appreciate this. The light went out in my room, so I'm just using computer light, so you'll have to bear with me. But the light inside is always burning. So yeah, I am 4 weeks from I took a spill and I have cracked a couple of vertebrae, and that's been an experience. But an amazing thing happened falling and cracking vertebrae is it really cracked me open to become more open to receiving love. And what I'm discovering is that anytime I do a lot of stuff online because I got to spend a lot of time in bed. And I've been on this class for the last couple of weeks, and there's probably 60 people who are all really adept, heart-opening kind of people. And every time I go on there, I find myself just bringing in more love, and there's this transformation, this transfer of energy that goes on that just totally lifts my spirits. And so it's like I'm not thinking about the cancer that I got diagnosed with. I'm not, chronic fatigue. Well, I've been dealing with that for a while, but I loved listening to Satya because, my mind was saying, well, let's see, I can't do a lot of stuff, but the truth of the matter is I can do a whole hell of a lot of stuff from here, from my bed, talking to people. And I have exciting projects that I'm working on. And I'm so appreciative of you, Scott, and everyone who's donated some money. And just the support is so wonderful. To know that even though it feels like I'm in the last chapter of my life, I say to myself, you know what? I don't know if it's going to be a short chapter or a long chapter. I'm hoping it's going to be a long chapter because there's so much that I want to do to help people awaken, to help people awaken their Kundalini Shakti, and to learn how to cultivate that, to help people learn how to cultivate equanimity. All these things are possible, and I can do that. I don't have to go out and jump up in front of an auditorium and run up and do all the calisthenics like Tony Robbins. I love Tony Robbins, but I don't have to do that. I can just be with people and be who I am, and it's so wonderful to be here. And usually by this time in the evening, I am really wiped out. But just by coming on and being in the flow of the Global Peace Tribe and the wonderful people on this broadcast right now, it totally lifts my spirit. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dawn. We love you. I've put the link into the chat box for people to donate. And again, for those of you watching on Facebook or the Conscious Awakening Network, Humanities Team, any of our broadcast partners, come and join the Global Peace Tribe. Now's the time to do it. Dawn, I love you so much. Keep getting well. Take care, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, and again, you can join. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. I should actually put up the Global Peace Tribe background. I love this Illuminate Film Festival background. But let's go to, there we go. Let's go to that. So it's easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, register. You'll get the Zoom room links to all of our shows, and now's the time to do it, because this is the very beginning week of October. This is the start of the new season. And for those of you that are in our Zoom room, thank you. That means that you've registered for the new season, and we appreciate that. And hopefully a lot more people are going to be registering this week once they realize, oh my gosh, the links don't work anymore. So thank you. All right, so here we are. We're doing a show on evolving leadership. That's the theme tonight. And Satya needed to finish by 7 o'clock. I thought, what can we do? And so I am going to bring on, really, Satyen is such a powerful masculine energy of leadership. So I am going to bring on somebody else. It's a video who I think represents powerful feminine example of leadership. And so let's see what Oprah Winfrey has to say about leadership advice.
I'm here fighting for women's rights and for women's equality.
It is not about the leader. The power of our democracy is in us.
Any little girl who's practicing their speech on the telly, you never know.
We have our voices, and we are not going anywhere.
Now let's go get it done.
Good evening. What's all this talk about women's rights? Little man in the back there say women ought not to have as much rights as men because women needs to be helped into carriages and over mud puddles. Well, I tell you, ain't nobody helped me into no carriages, and I ain't been helped over nary a mud puddle, and ain't I a woman? I done planted and plowed, gathered into barns, and worked as much and ate as much as any man when I could get it, and no man could head me, and ain't I a woman? I done born 13 children and seen them all sold off into slavery, and when I cried out with a woman's grief, ain't nobody but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? What I know is if one woman, Eve, was able to turn this world upside down all by herself, look like to me all these women's in this room together ought to be able to turn it right side up. Sojourner Truth delivered that speech at the 1851 Women's Rights Conference in Akron, Ohio. And little did she know that 168 years later, her words will still ring as clear as crystal, and I'd be delivering them to you, women in the world, at this magnificent gathering tonight. Ain't I a woman? But I tell you, the question that Tina Brown poses, can women save the world, got me thinking about Sojourner Truth and her message of common sense and empowerment. It also reminded me of a moment that I shared with Nelson Mandela in his living room several years ago. I had just told him that I wanted to build a school for girls in South Africa, and he asked, why only girls? And I said, because I am one, and because I understand what it's like to have been a poor girl wanting to do good in the world but not having the means to do it. And that the future of the South African nation really depended upon finding leadership and partnership of great women. And I wanted to start the process by building promising young girls for the future so that they could lead South Africa as remarkable leaders. That is what I have done and what I continue to do. And I'm proud to say that these little pups, I call them little pups, come to us from 9 provinces all over South Africa, rural communities, townships, and every girl that has come to my school since 2007 has graduated and gone to college. Every single girl. With the goal of becoming a leader in her own life. Can she save the world? Well, I teach them first, save yourself. And then offer what you know to help save your family, and then your community, and then your world. I teach a class once a year to the graduating seniors, trying to cram everything that I wish somebody had told me before I graduated into a week. I call it Life 101. And my primary offering in that class is this. It is your job to make yourself whole. Not perfect, but whole and full. Your real work in life, your real work, is to fill yourself till your cup runneth over so that you're never grasping and needy, clamoring and insecure. But you can live your life assured in your worthiness and your right to be here and to become the best version of yourself as a woman being. I teach them that there is no life without cultivating a spiritual life, because you are first and foremost a spiritual being having a human experience. And if you lose sight of that, it's easy to get lost in the world, and no one can save a world that they're lost in when they've lost sight of their own North Star. So having a spiritual life actually means actively and ritually creating the space in your life all the time for gratitude, for kindness, for empathy, for inspiration, for joy, and for reverence for life in the home of your soul first. And then working to spread that inner joy outward. It means slowing down. It means taking in the moment. It means being exactly where you are, not distracted somewhere else. It means knowing who you are and getting about the business of fulfilling why you really came to our planet. And also knowing that just being who you are, the reach of your arms, the span of your hips, the stride of your steps, the curl of your lips, as Maya Angelou used to say, makes you a phenomenal woman. That the arch in your back, the sun in your smile, the ride of your breasts, and the grace of your style. Nobody else has that like you. Because you and me, we in this room tonight are phenomenal women in the world. So Tina asked this question, can women save the world? And the answer is, we women people, we are used to saving other folk. We've been doing it a very long time. And we need to first and foremost honor the sacred time of saving ourselves, because that is where our greatest power lies. That's what Dorothy was trying to figure out, running up and down that yellow brick road all that time. And when we fulfill the task of actually making ourselves whole, we're set up to fully express what we know, to now negotiate, differentiate, to placate, to facilitate, to demonstrate, and delegate. And on a really good day, it helps us carve out 20 minutes to actually meditate. And on a really, really good day, like the one we had last January, some of those very skills helped get 42 new women sworn into Congress. And I'm here to say, if I were a gambler, I sure would bet that those 42 new congresswomen have experience with issues that few congressmen have ever had to face. Let's see, let's start with, there's the profound and abiding lack of equitable pay. Ditto, the lack of affordable childcare. There's the distinct possibility of being sexually assaulted in college or raped on a date. There are the bosses who believe that the female anatomy is theirs for the grabbing. There's the shocking abuse of women serving in our military, and we could go on and be here all night. But if this sort of nonchalant brutality has wounded our spirit in any way, I'm here tonight to say that it has also galvanized our determination to live with greater depth, with greater tenacity and backbone. This diverse new generation of congresswomen has been forged by fire, and this is what I know for sure: we are all the better and the sharper for it. Stacey Abrams is quite simply a force of nature. Michelle Obama's extraordinary book, Becoming, is on track to be the best-selling memoir of all time. Marie Kondo is sparking new ways to think about home. Greta Gerwig's version of Little Women hits theaters this Christmas. And as of last week, Lori Lightfoot is the first African-American openly gay mayor of Chicago. Will you look at us, women in the world? So we protest and we persevere and we get knocked down. But to paraphrase a memorable moment on the floor of the Senate, still we persist. We prove ourselves again and again and again, and we maintain a healthy skepticism, but we refuse to become cynical. We cultivate optimism, but we are nobody's fool. We are diplomats. We are advocates, as you've seen here tonight. We are troubleshooters and problem solvers. And despite NASA not being able to come up with one extra spacesuit in a size medium, we are also astronauts. We believe in commerce, We believe in art, we do our damnedest to believe in ourselves, and we believe in justice for all, regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or checking account. And as hard as it is for some folks to fathom, the vast majority of us also believe we can determine the right reproductive choices for our own bodies. We are there for our aging parents. We're there for divorcing friends and scary teenagers. We're good listeners and we're badasses. And above all, we show up. We show up. Can women save the world? I'd say we've been doing exactly that, Tina, for so many years. Whatever the reason, women are givers of life, not masters of war. And conferences like this one actually inspire us to continue to do the work. So I want you to leave here today. I want you to pick a cause, any cause. For sure, we have plenty to choose from. There's gun violence and climate change and systemic racism. There's healthcare and media bias. The homeless need opportunity and the addicted need treatment. The dreamers need protection. The prison system needs reforming. The LGBTQ community needs acceptance. The social safety net needs mending, and a whole lot of women deserve, are entitled to more than 80 cents on the dollar. So clearly, women in the world, if we want to save the world, we have got to continue to rock the boat, to join forces, to scrap the rules, and then when the smoke clears and all the naysayers who say it couldn't be done settle down, we've got to reinvent this game. Because I don't have to tell any of you that the game was not built on a level playing field. But the good news is that this knowledge only reinforces our resolve. It also amplifies our humanity. And at this point, we actually need all the decency we can get. We live in a country that has somehow confused cruel with funny, serious with intelligent, attitude with belief, personal freedom with stockpiling assault weapons, and what is moral with what is legal. So it's time for women in the world to set the agenda. It's time for women to redefine the message. And we need to make that message a positive one. Let's make it ambitious and inclusive and brimming with hope, because you can't get what you want by focusing on what you don't want. This is about the need to establish as many meaningful connections as we can. If we're going to save the world, we have to find a way to connect to each other, to connect to the nature that we're killing, to animals, to history, to an acknowledgement of the lingering trauma of racism and sexism. We need to connect to the people we love and mean something to us, and more than that, to the people who don't. That doesn't mean we always have to agree with another person's philosophy. It means we, if we're going to continue to survive and thrive on this planet, have to find ways to transcend the politics of division and embrace the places that bond us where we find our human ground. So fortunately, being woke to humanity, to fear, to pain, to need, happens to be one of the things that we women people specialize in. We don't build walls, we build bridges. And as Tina pointed out in her excellent Times op-ed piece, we have only to look at Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's response to last month's massacre in Christchurch, New Zealand. I've never seen such leadership. The Prime Minister is a woman who has the courage of her convictions, and she set a global standard in leadership with her response. The answer, she said, lies in our humanity. We each hold the power in our words, in our actions, in our daily acts of kindness, she said. So women across the country then showed their solidarity by wearing headscarves to emulate the hijab that Ms. Adarn chose to mourn in. And the Arab community felt their benevolence. 50 murders that could have brought even more destruction instead led to a portrait of the Prime Minister displayed across Dubai's tallest building with the word peace shining above it, in English as well as in Arabic. Jacinda Ardern projected peace and goodness, and the Arab world projected it right back for all of us to take in. And suddenly we saw that the other didn't seem that much different from us. So here, women in the world, we have to make the choice every single day to channel our own inner Jacindas, to exemplify the truth and the respect and the grace that we actually wish for the world. We need to tell it, as we're doing at this conference. We need to write it. We need to sing it. We need to proclaim it. We need to be it. We need to be the truth. We have to be the respect. We have to be the fierceness, the love that we want to see. And when we do that, mark my words, a change is already coming.
That's one powerful woman, huh? Just one powerful woman.
It is. She's an amazing woman. The depth of that woman. Anyone who thinks that she's in this world for commercial gain is seriously wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a counterpoint to Satyen.
I think it's true. We've heard from a powerful man and a powerful woman.
Exactly.
Hearts. Well, thank you, everybody. Here we are, the start of a new season, and it's my honor to turn it over to beloved brother Omashar to wrap us up with a song.
Yay. Sorry. Okay. What if we could find a way to wipe away all tears and fears, all broken hearts, to clear the way for a brand new start? Now that we see and know the way to lift our day and shine the light for all to see, the way back home and the way to be free. Let our love lead the way. Let the light shine through all. Let our hearts and minds be free. As we rise up from the fall, there is a way to see again, to be again, to know the truth and smile again. With an open heart we feel safe again.
free, and we see that the way is to let our love show us a new way to be, and we relish the chance to be part of the dance that will recreate the world anew. What if we could find a way to wipe away all tears and fears, all broken hearts, to clear the way for a brand new start? Let our love lead the way. Let the light shine through all. Let our hearts and minds be free. As we rise up from the fall. Now that we're free. There is a way to see again, to be again, to know the truth and smile again. With an open heart we feel safe again.
That's a great song, man. That's a great song.
It's beautiful. I'm just, sometimes I'm just so open that they just drop in and it's complete and it's like, wow. And it's funny, I actually chose these two songs tonight for Satyen. It was his spirit of the thing, and he left, and Oprah came on, and it was just like the perfect song to synergize the whole thing. I just felt it through and through. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for you, Omashar. Thank you so much.
Yes,
You really make this show happen. You are priceless, absolutely priceless. Thank you, everybody. And I love what Dia just wrote. Scott, were it not for you playing that tape of Oprah, I never would have heard it. The replay will give me the tool I want to show people who make lame comments about nothing ever changing. So thank you. That's nice to read. And of course, Diara, Sylvia are sending, Eleanor apparently went to the wrong Zoom room. This often happens when we shift and we have new Zoom rooms. So hopefully I did send out an email today with all the Zoom rooms, but usually it takes people a little while to catch on. So yeah, we missed Eleanor in the end. So I'll make sure that they get the recording. And hey, everybody, get the word out there. Let's get more people registering for the Awakening World this season, okay? I've got some great shows planned. And always beloved Omashar providing us with such inspirational music. God bless you. All right, everybody. See you on Saturday night. Have a great couple of days.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste. Now must go.